Let's start today with the federal government's 2024 budget and the priorities that budget lays out. The feds say their aim is to restore generational fairness for millennials and Gen Z, but do they deliver? The theme of the budget is to deliver, quote, fairness for every generation. The budget contains nearly $53 billion in new spending over 5 years and maintains Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's pledge to hold the line on the deficit, which will be nearly $40 billion for the 2024-25 fiscal year. That does include $19 billion geared toward housing, just over $10 billion for defense, and $9 billion for Indigenous communities. But like the majority of this government's budget, this one does not include a path to balance. As for how Ottawa intends to pay for some of its new measures, the feds plan to change the capital gains tax by increasing the taxable portion from half to two-thirds for all corporations and for individuals with a capital gains above $250,000. That tax increase is expected to generate $19.3 billion in revenue over 5 years. So why does the government think that tax change is the right approach? Rechie Valdez is the Minister of Small Business. She's with us now. Hi, Minister. Good to see you. Thanks for coming back on the program. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Vashi. Thanks for having me.
Minister, did your government hike the capital gains tax so you can wedge the Conservatives with it, or because you actually believe it's good policy?
Well, just to take a step back, Budget 2024 is really all about creating fairness for every generation, whether you're a new couple trying to purchase your first home, a family, or even a small business. Through the capital gains or the lifetime capital gains exemption, what it's actually doing for small businesses, benefiting them because we've increased the ceiling from 1 million to 1.25 million. And in addition to that, it's above and beyond the 1.25 million, the 250,000 the first 250,000 is actually at a inclusion rate of 50%.
So you believe that it is sound policy. It's not being employed by your government. Would I be fair to interpret your comments as solely to use as a political wedge? Because in the comments that I've heard from the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister since the tabling of the budget, this is what they're focused on. They're trying to say the Conservatives will not go after the wealthy, while this new tax, and the tax hike rather from your government, is emblematic of the fact that Liberals are prepared to.
Again, what we're really trying to do through Budget 2024 is to create fairness for every generation. And through Budget 2024, the lifetime capital gains exemption is really going to benefit the majority of small businesses. And we also created, in addition to that, a Canada Entrepreneur incentive to actually, on top of the inclusion rate there that I mentioned earlier, it's an additional $2 million on top of that at an inclusion rate of 33.3%. That's really to spur and incent innovation for small SMEs across the country.
So if this policy and the suite of policies that you've introduced are designed to do that, as you say, incent innovation and grow the economy, why are so many groups who represent people who do that so critical of what you've done? And I'll point you, Minister, to a few examples. The Canadian Council of Innovators, for example, says those folks who join startups and scale-ups as they're beginning their journey are provided stock options and other benefits, which are ultimately determined as capital gains in the future. It's marketing experts, sales experts, legal experts that are traditionally mid-career that you're completely undermining by this type of policy lever that's being implemented. The Canadian Venture Capital and Private Equity Association says this measure, which effectively taxes innovation and risk-taking, will significantly dampen Canada's entrepreneurial spirit, stifle economic growth in critical sectors of our economy, and impact job creation. Why do they think that if you're contending the opposite?
Canada has a very competitive environment. Canadian small businesses have the lowest marginal effective tax rate in the G7. And if you compare us to the US, all 100% of capital gains in the US is being charged to corporations. Here in Canada, we believe in encouraging and incentivizing innovation. We've done that through our additional measure of investing in artificial intelligence of $2 billion, 200 million of which are going directly to help AI, specifically to support startups.
And I certainly wouldn't take away from that announcement and the focus on AI. But when you talk about, for example, the marginal tax rate, this change to the capital tax regime actually increases our marginal tax rate relative to other countries. We were kind of in the middle of the pack, and this, when it comes into effect, will bring us to the top. And on the issue of spurring innovation, I mean, we have a terrible record on productivity. The deputy governor of the Bank of Canada just weeks ago said it was an emergency situation wherein the glass needs to be broken. Do you really feel that what you're talking about addresses that issue? Because again, those people who are responsible for innovation in this country say it does the opposite.
I think that's a great question. We do want to support and encourage innovation and of course increase productivity. We've done that through our Canada Digital Adoption Program, where with both streams, they've become very popular, the second in which has become fully subscribed. And that really, we can really create innovation and drive innovation through the digital adoption to all SMEs across the country. And we're going to continue to do that. AI definitely is one way we can do that. And again, through the lifetime capital gains exemption, the majority of small businesses will be able to benefit from the increase of ceiling from 1 million to 1.25 million. And again, that's going to benefit the majority of small and medium-sized businesses.
Respectfully, though, why should Canadians trust the plan your government's put in place that you say will incentivize or lead to a boost in productivity when the exact opposite has been true of the measures that you've put in place so far, despite what you've done in the measures that you point to, for example? Productivity in this country is at an emergency level. That's not me saying that, that's the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada.
We recognize it's a very challenging time, and then through the different measures that we put in place through Budget 2024, it's not only going to be able to create fairness for every generation, and I think about my kids, Kyle and Cassidy, and the world that they're living in, because there's also much broader concerns that we're also trying to address, which is making sure we're building more housing across the country and at a faster rate, and of course to be able to increase the cost of and affordability in this country. We've introduced measures to help support small and medium-sized businesses across the country, and again through the lifetime capital gains exemption, that increase from 1 million to 1.25 million will be able to help and benefit the majority of small and medium-sized businesses.
Again, though, with great respect, Minister, I have to press you on your government's record there, because when I look at some of the statistics about how the economy is growing or how the workforce is growing, it is heavily weighted towards the public service. In the last year, 202,000 jobs were added in the public sector, just about 141,000 in the private sector. But here's the catch. If you take into account the decline in self-employment, it's only about 122,000 jobs in the private sector. This is all according to math the Globe and Mail has done. 90% of those jobs created in the private sector are in just one province, in the province of Alberta. If self-employment is on the decline, how is the environment that your government set up actually going to incentivize the opposite to happen? Because the one that's already there, the economy that your government has overseen, is doing the exact opposite.
I'm going to address in a couple ways. First and foremost, we cut taxes for small and medium-sized businesses from 10.5% to 9%. So we did that. One of the things we're also very focused on is really leveling the playing field for entrepreneurs. And in particular, to mention the Women Entrepreneurship Strategy, that's an investment of $7 billion that's really helped over 30,000 women entrepreneurs across this country. And by having more women participate in the common economy through the $10 a day childcare program or through a Women Entrepreneurship Strategy, that's going to help increase add an additional increase of $150 billion in GDP. We're going to continue to invest in our entrepreneurs across the country and, of course, make it a more inclusive environment for them to be able to do so.
But respectfully, Minister, when you talk, for example, about increasing women's participation in the labor force, which your policy on daycare has very distinctly done, I want to make sure you get credit for that. That is not a sign of more of an environment of more small businesses. The opposite has happened. There's a decline in self-employment. More people are working, but they're working for other people. The entrepreneurial spirit that you're referencing has not been incentivized by your government. And what we're hearing from people in that space is that this budget does more to go in the wrong direction.
Again, we are going to continue to support SMEs across the country, and then by introducing measures like increasing the lifetime capital gains exemption from 1 million to 1.25 million, it will do so. And of course, again, creating many different measures to help support, and in particular, young entrepreneurs, which is a huge focus of ours in the Budget 2024. We are going to continue to invest in entrepreneurs, and 60 million is going to go towards Futurepreneurs, who is investing and helping support young entrepreneurs across this country.
Self-employed workers, the number of self-employed workers in this country since the pandemic ended started, has declined roughly 7%. Do you actually believe, as the minister who oversees this part of the economy and self-employed people and small businesses, do you actually believe that they feel that this country, this economy, makes them want to do that? Like, do you think there are people out there who think that risk is worth it right now with the economy that your government oversees?
I've met with many small and medium-sized businesses across this country, and I've had conversation with them. They are looking to start their business, and we're trying to encourage and be able to do so by different measures to create a more inclusive environment for entrepreneurs. So I do believe there is a lot of interest there, and we're going to continue to encourage and support small businesses across this country.
Minister, I'm out of time. I'll leave it there. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vashi.